If you're lucky enough to live near one, then you've probably heard that Raising Cane's chicken is so good, it could make the colonel fly the coop. The upstart chicken finger eatery with a youthful fun vibe seemingly came out of nowhere to challenge KFC for the cluckin throne. But is there really one tender to rule them all? Well, today we're taking a look at the rapid rise of Raising Cane's. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History Food channel. After that, please leave a comment and let us know what other fast food chicken joints you would like to hear about. Okay, time to raise some cane, if you're able. Imagine you were taking a business plan writing course at college, and you got an assignment to come up with a business plan for an imaginary restaurant. You throw together something about a fast food place that serves nothing but chicken fingers and hand it in with high hopes. But your professor tells you that the plan wouldn't work and gives you the lowest grade in the class.
They are not part of the legitimate business world. And they're certainly not part of anything I'm teaching in this class. Do I make myself clear?
Sorry, just trying to help, that's all.
Nonetheless, you've come to believe in your fictional restaurant and decide to open it up for real. So you go to the bank, tell them the plan, and ask for a loan, which they flat out refuse. But you still don't give up. Instead, you take a job as a boilermaker at an oil refinery, grinding through 90-hour weeks. So you could pay for the restaurant yourself. But it's still not enough. So you move to Alaska and get a job on a commercial fishing boat fishing sockeye salmon in Bristol Bay, working 20-hour days in harsh conditions. You save every penny, finally manage to get a small business loan, and you open up the restaurant of your dreams. Well, if you did all that, you'd be Todd Graves, the founder of Raising Cane's. In 1996, Graves decided to open his first restaurant at 3313 Highland Road in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, right by the north gates of Louisiana State University. It was the same school that told him his idea was the worst in his class. But we assume he also chose the location because college kids love chicken fingers. While he was renovating the building in preparation to open, he chipped away some stucco and discovered an old painted mural from a bread bakery that had once been there. Taking it as an omen that his plan would work, he decided to base his logo on the look of the mural. He also decided that all of his restaurants would have similar murals of their own. All he needed at that point was a name. His first instinct was to call the place Sockeyes, as a tribute to the sockeye salmon he once caught in Alaska. But Graves changed his mind when a friend suggested he name the restaurant after his yellow Labrador, Raising Cane. What kind of fish is that? The first Raising Cane's opened on August 28, 1996. At first, they had trouble making the cash registers work, but they figured it out real fast. Because right from day one, business was booming. Graves himself stood in the street to wave cars into the lot, and they just kept coming. It was so steady the place stayed open until 3:30 a.m. on its first night. And despite the fact most Raising Cane's stay open to 11 p.m., this original location, which is today known as the Mothership, still stays open until 3:30 a.m. Partially in honor of that first night, and partially because college kids love chicken fingers. Raising Cane's only made $30 worth of profit in its first month, but the bottom line improved fast. 18 months later, Graves opened a second location on the other side of the LSU campus. 2 years later, the chain would have 5 locations in the area and its own central business office. In 2001, Graves finally decided it was time to expand into new markets, and the company opened locations in places like Texas and Mississippi. The company was growing fast, and the future looked bright, which is usually when disaster strikes. That disaster was Hurricane Katrina, which ravaged the entire region and, in the process, damaged a staggering 21 of Cane's 28 locations. That was bad enough, but exacerbating the problem was that Graves, a successful but then inexperienced businessman, had left his company wildly over-leveraged. Long story short, Graves owed a ton of cash, and if 21 of his locations shut down, he had absolutely no way to pay it back. So he rallied his team to get the affected locations up and running as quickly as possible. A lot of those communities badly needed food, and the people who lived in them needed places to work, so his employees were only too happy to help. It saved the business, but Graves would later admit his approach was stupid, and the whole thing taught him an important lesson in balancing risk. That being said, Graves's near-disastrous business decision had an upside. By 2022, Cane's had over 600 locations, and by keeping the ownership entirely to himself, he is now one of the 300 richest people in the world. Of course, you can't build a billion-dollar business on chicken fingers without stepping on a few toes. And Raising Cane's has been involved in its share of controversies and legal dust-ups. For example, in June of 2018, a viral video showed a Cane's employee at a location in Kansas City, Missouri, stirring the restaurant's iced tea with her forearm. The employee, and another with her, are then heard cackling at their totally unsanitary concoction as they pour it into the soft drink dispenser for customers. As you might expect, they were both promptly fired, and the company issued a statement about how hard it works to train its employees.
She wasn't even dipping, she was like resting in it.
Regardless, the whole incident reminds us of the old saying,
"Videotaping this crime spree is the best idea we ever had."
In 2022, the chicken chain found itself suing a mall in Hobart, Indiana, claiming that they had leased a location in the mall without realizing they weren't permitted to sell chicken products there. And since the only non-chicken products they usually sell are their waffle fries, coleslaw, Texas toast, and cane sauce, that was obviously going to be a huge problem. As it turned out, the property owner had made an agreement with McDonald's that essentially gave them a monopoly over selling chicken products in the area. Cane's sued to get out of the 15-year agreement, and in March of 2024, the property was back up for lease with a sign making it clear no chicken joints need apply. Meanwhile, Cane's announced it would put its restaurants in nearby Michigan City instead. Later that same year, Joe Fontana, the owner of a Chicago-based fried chicken chain called Fry the Coop, took to social media to call out Cane's for setting up shop across the street from one of his restaurants on Lincoln Avenue by DePaul University. Fontana complained that as a national chain, Raising Cane's could easily undercut his prices and would likely drive his location out of business sooner or later. So, in attempting to wrestle the Colonel's iron grip from the fried chicken market, Cane's had now become the new big chicken in town. But you can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs. Raising Cane's did not come out of nowhere to topple the champ in an upset. Heck, when it comes to chicken joints, it still doesn't even come in second. The remarkable success story of Raising Cane's is how fast it managed to become a major player in the fiercely competitive fast food industry. First, you need to understand that the biggest fast food chicken place by far is Chick-fil-A, which brought in a seriously clucking impressive $21 billion that year. The next biggest is Popeyes with $5.5 billion. And right on its tail is KFC, which did $5.1 billion. Raising Cane's is fourth, having pulled in $3.7 billion that year. That beats Wingstop, Zaxby's, Bojangles, El Pollo Loco, Church's Texas Chicken, Dave's Hot Chicken, and Slim Chickens, many of which are considerably older. And considering KFC has been at it since 1930, Chick-fil-A since 1967, and Popeye since 1972, Raising Cane's definitely seems to have a drumstick up on the competition. As for which one is best, our reviews of various rankings on the internet show Cane's pretty consistently finishing in the top 3. Obviously, your mileage may vary depending on what you crave in a chicken finger, but no matter how you slice it, Cane's chicken fingers are highly regarded. That popularity may have something to do with their special Cane sauce, a blend of mayo, ketchup, Worcestershire, and various spices. The sauce gives a savory umami taste to the chicken fingers. Together, they're held in such high regard the chain has developed a fan base that refers to themselves as Caniacs. Today, Raising Cane's has over 800 locations in the U.S. alone, and they're still expanding as fast as ever. You'll also find them in Mexico and Canada, and they're also popular in the Middle East. They opened their first international location in Kuwait in 2015, and by 2024, they had over 40 locations in the region. However, because dogs aren't generally as popular there as they are in the U.S., you won't see the company's mascot, Raising Cane the Yellow Lab, on any signage or merchandise. Thanks to a series of high-profile promotions and endorsements, Raising Cane's popularity continues to skyrocket in the U.S. as well. For example, in 2022, the chain bribed Chevy Chase into reprising his iconic role as Clark Griswold from the Vacation films in a commercial that co-starred Graves and recreated the famous sequence where Clark blinds his neighbors with his Christmas lights. And more recently, in 2024, they celebrated National Iced Tea Day by partnering up with rapper and actor Ice-T on the official Iced Tea of Ice-T. For a single day, Caniacs could get a free 22-ounce cup of the stuff. which we're going to assume wasn't stirred with anyone's forearm. Well, maybe iced teas. As for the Raising Cane menu, it remains as chicken finger-centric as ever. It has 5 combo deals, and with the exception of the chicken sandwich, all of them are chicken finger combos. Burger fans need not apply. So what do you think? Are you a fan of Raising Cane's? Or is the Colonel still the best chicken in town? Let us know in the comments below, and while you're at it, check out some of these other weird history food videos.